With that, I'd like to turn it over to the state senator from Iowa. His name is Jeff Danielson. He represents the people in the Cedar Falls and Waterloo area. Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Ken, for your leadership on behalf of working families all around Iowa. I am one of those families. Most of you know Iowa has a citizen legislature, and we don't do this year-round. And I think that that's a good thing. We have to live with what we do. Washington, D.C. could take a lesson from Iowa in that regard. But I'm a union member myself, a firefighter back home, who believes that working class families deserve a fair shot at a better life. And you can only have that opportunity when we truly have a democracy where every vote is equal. And unfortunately, and I can't say it any better than you paraphrased Justice Breyer, today's McCutcheon decision, we stand here on the dawn of the McCutcheon decision, but it really adds insult to injury, because coupled with the Citizens United decision, it means that all of the things that we care about when it comes to our democracy, the basic building blocks of citizen participation, can now be drowned out by a tidal wave of money. And it's not just the amount of money. It's the fact that much of it can be secret, and democracy is now allowed to operate in the dark. So we have a challenge in front of us that I think can only be solved by the ballot box. Thank you to the groups that are here today, Citizens United, to overturn Citizens United, those that stand with those of us that want our democracy to be truly grassroots, to be community-oriented, and to hopefully have candidates like me and others, elected officials, who really believe that it ought to be a relationship between the people and their community, not the relationship between the corporations and Washington, D.C. So we have a challenge, and it's not an easy one. I think you should know that here in Iowa, what I've tried to do is make sure that Iowa was a leader in the country when it came to campaign finance laws. We were the first state in the country to pass a campaign finance law after Citizens United decision. We captured all of the things that we could get, given the limits of the Supreme Court decision, mainly disclosure and other reporting requirements. We have withstood a court challenge to that law. It's currently being challenged at the federal district level, but we've sustained all those challenges up to this point, so we believe we have a good law. And our goal is always to have, if we're going to be the first in the nation state to pick the president, we're proud of that, we should also have the best in the nation campaign finance laws. So you need to know that that's what we did. And I haven't given up since then. We've also passed in the Senate one of the broadest based disclosure laws that includes all of the dark money groups today. 501c4s, C6s, super PACs, you name it. Our goal in that bill was that if you're running for anything in Iowa, from dog catcher all the way to president, citizens have a right to know where you're raising your money and where you're spending it. That bill died in the House. And we've also passed a couple of resolutions that have called for either a constitutional process to repeal Citizens United or for Congress to act itself with a law that gives them some authority on these campaign finance issues. Obviously, those bills that have gone over the House have died, and there's been no partnership on the resolution process either. But we're not going to give up. We're going to keep chipping away at it. And I hope that, as Senator Harkin, if many of you have heard him speak before, that there's no ill wind that blows that some good doesn't come of it. And so while today is a dark day, I hope it raises the awareness in a bipartisan way around the country that with Citizens United, coupled with the McCutcheon decision, the hope that the average person can run for office and be supported by average middle-class voters and not be drowned out by the money is becoming a thing of the past. And it's up to us to say no, stop it, and go to the ballot box with our vote and our voices and say that we want our elections to be clean, to be open, to be honest, to be fair. And if you want to talk about limits and all the other good ideas that I think involve campaign finance, including public financing, which we have passed in the Senate, which would help with some of those other situations, we think now it's up to Iowans and Americans to voice that opinion at the ballot box. Vote for the candidates who support those things and vote against the ones that don't. That's the only way we're going to see change. So I'm just happy to be a part of your event here today. I'm happy to have your support.
Thank you so much.